Today is Monday, January 6th, and we will be reading Genesis chapter 16, 17, and 18.
All right. You ready? Do you have yours? Oh, we have a fist bump. Are you at 16? You at 17? 16? We have it? What do you have? We're doing our Bible coloring. Gabriel, you ready? Oh, we have a high five. I did the fist bump. You ready? Y'all ready, Matthew? All right, thumbs up. Let's get to it. Okay. Hagar and Ishmael. Now Sarai had borne no children for Abram. She had an Egyptian slave girl named Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, "Please listen. Since Yahweh has kept me childless, go sleep with my maidservant. Perhaps through her I can build you a family." Abram listened and did what Sarai asked. Abram had already lived 10 years in the land of Canaan when his wife Sarai took her Egyptian slave girl Hagar and gave her to Abram to be his second wife. He slept with Hagar and she conceived. Once Hagar realized she was pregnant, she belittled Sarai and despised her. So Sarai went to Abram and said, "It's totally your fault that Hagar despises me, and you're not standing up for me. I gave my slave girl to your embrace, and when she found out she was pregnant, she despised me. May Yahweh judge between us who is in the right." Abram responded, "She's your slave girl under your authority, so do with her whatever you think best." Then Sarai cruelly mistreated Hagar, who then ran away from her. The angel of Yahweh encountered Hagar by a spring in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. He asked her, "Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from and what are you doing here?" She replied, "I'm running away from Sarai, my mistress." The angel of Yahweh told her, "You have to go back to your mistress and humbly submit to her." The angel added, "I will greatly multiply your descendants until no one can count them." Yahweh's angel continued, "You are now pregnant, and soon you will give birth to a son. You will name him Ishmael, for Yahweh has heard your cries of distress. Your son will have a wild nature that no one can tame. He will be hostile toward everyone, and everyone will be hostile toward him. And he will live at odds with all his kinsmen." After her encounter with Yahweh, Hagar called him by a special name. "You are the son of my seeing. Oh, no. You are the God of my seeing." For she said, "Oh my, did I just see God and live to talk about it?" That is why the well is called Spring of the Living One who watches over me. The well is still there between Kadesh and Bered. Hagar returned and bore Abram a son, whom Abram named Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar gave birth to Ishmael. Chapter 17, the covenant of circumcision. When Abram was 99 years old, Yahweh appeared to him again and said, "I am the God who is more than enough. Live your life in my presence and be blameless. I will confirm my covenant between me and you, and I will greatly multiply your descendants." Then Abram fell on his face in awe before God, and God said to him, "I establish my covenant with you. You will become a father of many nations. You will no longer be named Abram, because I am changing your name to Abraham. For I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you abundantly fruitful, more than you expect. I will make nations out of you, and kings will trace their lineage back to you. Yes, I will establish my eternal covenant of love between me and you, and I will extend to your descendants throughout their generations. I will be your children's God, just as I am your God. I will give to you and your seed the land to which you have migrated. The entire land of Canaan will be yours and your descendants as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God forever. God explained to Abraham, "Your part of the covenant is to obey its terms, you and your descendants throughout the ages. So here is the sign of the covenant that you are to keep, so that it will endure between you and me and your descendants. Circumcise every male among you. You must undergo cutting off the flesh of your foreskin as a special sign of the covenant between me and you. Throughout your generations, each male child must be circumcised 8 days after his birth. This includes those not of your descendants, those born in your household, and for foreign-born servants whom you have purchased. They must be circumcised, homeborn and purchased alike. In this way you will carry in your flesh the sign of my everlasting covenant. Any uncircumcised male who does not have the foreskin of the flesh cut off will be cut off from his people, for he has broken my covenant." God also said to Abraham, "Concerning your wife Sarai, you are not to call her Sarai anymore, but Sarah, my princess, will be her name. I will wonderfully bless her, and I will certainly give you a son through her. Yes, I will bless her greatly, and she will become the mother of nations. Kings of nations will arise among her children." Then Abraham laughed so hard he fell to the ground, saying to himself, "How in the world can a 100-year-old man become a father? How can my wife Sarah get pregnant at 90? And then he spoke out loud, "Oh, that Ishmael might prosper with your blessing." God said, "Listen to me. I promised you that you and Sarah will have a son, and you will call him Isaac. I will confirm my everlasting covenant of love with him and his seed. And regarding Ishmael, I have heard your cry, and I will indeed bless him. I will cause him to have many, many descendants. He will father 12 rulers, and I will make him into a great nation. But my everlasting covenant relationship is with Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah about this time next year." When he had finished speaking with Abraham, God ascended up to heaven. So without delay, Abraham obeyed God and took his son Ishmael and every male in his household, whether born in the house or foreign-born servants, and circumcised them that very same day. Abraham was already 99 years old when he was circumcised, and his son Ishmael was 13. They were both circumcised on the same day, along with all the men of the household, whether born in his house or foreign-born servants. Chapter 18. Yahweh appears again to Abraham. Yahweh appeared once again to Abraham while he lived by the oak grove in Mamre. During the hottest part of the day, as Abraham sat at his tent door, he looked up and suddenly saw 3 men standing nearby. As soon as he saw them, he ran from his tent and welcomed them. He bowed down to the ground and said, "My Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, don't pass me by. Stay for a while with your servant. I'll have some water brought to you all, so that you can wash your feet. Rest here a while under the tree. Since you've stopped by your servant's home and honored me with your presence, I'll have food prepared for you, so that you can be refreshed. Then you can go on your way." "Very well," they responded. "Go ahead and do as you have said." Abraham hurried back into the tent and said to Sarah, "Quick, we have guests. Get 3 measures of fine flour, knead it, and bake some bread." Then Abraham ran to the herd, selected a tender choice calf, and told his servant, "Hurry, prepare this calf for my guests." Then he brought the meal they had prepared, roasted meat, bread, curds, and milk, and set them before his guests. Abraham stood by them under the tree while they ate. They asked him, "Where is your wife Sarah?" He answered, "Over there in the tent." Then one spoke up and said, "I will return about this time next year, when your wife Sarah will certainly have a son." Sarah overheard it, for she was in the tent door not far behind them. She was at the tent door not far behind them. Now both Abraham and Sarah were already very old, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. Sarah laughed to herself with disbelief, saying, "A woman my age have a baby? After I'm worn out, will I now enjoy marital bliss and conceive? And with my aged husband?" Yahweh knew her thoughts and asked Abraham, "Why is Sarah laughing, saying, 'How can a woman my age have a baby?' Do you think there is anything too marvelous for Yahweh? I will appear to you at the appointed time next year, and Sarah will have a son." Sarah was afraid, so she denied it, saying, "I wasn't laughing." But he said, "Yes, you were." Abraham, the intercessor. Afterward, the 3 men departed and walked towards Sodom, and Abraham went off with them to see them on their way. As they walked, Yahweh said, "Should I really hide from Abraham what I intend to do? After all, he will become a great and powerful nation, and every nation on earth will be blessed through him. It is true, I have singled him out as my own, so that he will lead his family and household to follow my ways. To follow my ways and live by what is right and just. I will fulfill all the promises that I have spoken to him." Yahweh explained to Abraham, "The outcry for justice against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great and their sins so blatant that I must go down and see if their wicked actions are as great as the outrage that has come to me. And if not, then I will know." As Yahweh's 2 companions went on toward Sodom, Abraham remained there, as Yahweh paused before Abraham. So Abraham came forward to present his case before Yahweh and said, "Are you really going to sweep away the righteous while you judge the wicked? What if you find 50 righteous people in Sodom? Isn't your mercy great enough to forgive? Why judge the entire city on the cost of the 50 righteous who live there? That's not who you are. One who would slay the righteous with the wicked, treating them both the same way? Wouldn't the merciful judge of all the earth always do what is right?" And Yahweh said, "All right. If I find 50 righteous in Sodom, I will spare the whole city for their sake." Abraham spoke up again and said, "I am just a man formed from earth's dust and ashes, but allow me to be so bold as to ask my Lord, what if there are only 5 lacking, and you only find 45 righteous in Sodom? It's not who you are to destroy the entire city for a lack of 5 righteous people." And Yahweh said, "All right. If I find 45 righteous in Sodom, I will spare the whole city." "But what if there are only 40? Abram asked further. Yahweh answered, "All right. If I only find 40, I will spare the city." Abraham paused. Then he said, "Lord, please don't be offended with me and let me speak. What if there are only 30? Yahweh answered, "All right. If I find only 30, I will spare the city." Abraham ventured even further, asking, "Allow me to dare speak this way to you, my Lord. But what if you find there are 20 righteous?" Yahweh answered, "All right. For the sake of the 20, I will not destroy the city." Then Abraham took a deep breath and asked once more, "Please don't let my Lord be angry with me if I make but one more request. What if you find only 10 righteous?" And Yahweh answered, "All right. I will extend my mercy and not destroy the city for the sake of 10 righteous." Yahweh finished speaking with Abraham. He immediately went on his way, and Abraham returned home. And that is Genesis 16, 17, and 18.
I have a day.